going on, guys? Welcome back to Real Talk, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about why I didn't buy an Audi RS3, Mercedes A45S, a Porsche Cayman, and why I didn't buy another M2, and why I decided to buy the M2 Competition. I know, as always, I start my videos off now with I do apologise in delay in uploads. I do apologise for the wind noise that you're probably picking up on, but without getting into too much, there's been a lot happening, but I can promise you guys I've invested in some new camera gear. I'm excited to get this YouTube thing back on the roads for this year, which I'm filming only on the 31st, so we've got one more day left of this year, but next year with some regular uploads, and I'm really excited because I know that you guys have been asking where I've been up to, where I am. No more long delays, no more months. I'm going to try getting a video out to you guys every single week. But without further ado, let's jump in the car and let's get this show on the road. You're in the market for a new car. You have around £40,000 to £50,000 to spend. You want something that's reliable, which isn't going to cost an arm and a leg to maintain, so you want something relatively new. You want something fast, something that looks good and puts a smile on your face. There are really only a few cars that come up into conversation, and that tends to be the Audi RS3, Mercedes A45S, Porsche Cayman, BMW M2, or BMW M2 Competition. So why did I buy the M2 Competition and none of the others? So guys, you join me in the M2 Competition. First thing you'll probably notice is a significant improvement in the in-car audio. And I'm very excited to share that with you. I don't know why. I know that has been an issue in a lot of my videos. And a lot of you have commented saying, you know, you need to sort out your in-car quality and your audio. I have taken the plunge, so hopefully you can now finally hear what I'm saying and it doesn't just sound like I'm talking gibberish and you're having to lip read throughout the entire video. So you can get some decent content out now. So just want to say, first of all, Merry Christmas to every single one of you. I hope you had a wicked one filled with happiness, joy, etc. And someone's just pulled up behind me. Oh, sorry. Woo! I've gone all itchy. Okay, let's do that again. So hope you guys had a wicked Christmas. And by the time you're watching this, it will also be 2022. So I hope you had a wicked new year. As the title says, I'm going to be talking to you today about why I didn't buy an Audi RS3, a Mercedes A45S, a Porsche Cayman, or another M2. So for those of you who don't know, I did write my M2 off back in June. Wasn't my fault, by the way. That's kind of left me in the market for a new car. So I'm going to discuss why I didn't buy the cars that I've just mentioned and why I decided to buy an M2 Competition. So let's get started. Let's start the car up. Here we are, service due 11,000 miles. First thing that I'll do this time of year is I only drive with DSC off during the summer. So I didn't really get much time out of it in the car. During this time of year, I always put it into MDM mode. And MDM basically means it takes traction control off, but not fully off, just allows you a bit of fun. So manual, and let's get going. So, as I'd mentioned, so I was in the market for a new car and I had a budget of around, obviously I wasn't buying cash, I always finance my cars. The kind of budget that I was kind of allowed to have that would fit my monthly budget in terms of cash price was anywhere sort of from 40-ish up to maximum £50,000. That was my kind of budget. And for anyone who's into their cars and, you know, wants a bit of fun, wants a bit of power, and for me, what's a must, by the way, is something that is relatively new, something that's reliable, something that's still got warranty. So that writes off a lot of cars, by the way, because I know the list can go on and on and on. What car can I get for 50 grand? So I wanted something new, something reliable, something fun, and something fast. That really leaves you with a few cars, generally. And I'm going off discussions that I've had with people on socials when they're looking to get their next car, what they're umming and ahhing about, and just my kind of experience, which tends to be an RS3, an A45S, a Porsche Cayman, an M2, or an M2 Competition. So we'll start with the RS3 first of all. Why didn't I go for an RS3? Now, one thing I will say is they are bloody brilliant cars. All year round, A to B, they are brilliant and they're blisteringly quick. However, I think I'm a little bit biased to rear-wheel drive. So I've been in a few, I've driven one, I test drove one, and I really liked it. And obviously on a test drive you can't really push it, but my kind of idea of a car is it's not just about how quick you can drive, and a car, obviously I want a car to fill you with confidence, or if you want a car to fill you with confidence, but for me it's about how it is on the twisties and how lively it is, and when you're really pushing it, you know, how on your feet you are. That kind of adrenaline drives me, and the RS3 didn't really have that for me. You know, they're notorious for understeer, and that's obviously, I know if you're really pushing the car, like I get that. Woo! That's if you're really pushing the car, but I like to take my cars on track where I can. I will be doing a lot of that, and I just thought it's a bit bland. Now this is all personal preference, by the way. It's, you know, if you want an RS3, brilliant, but for me, I like to think of myself as quite a handy driver. I just wanted something that was a little bit leery, something that was fun, and coming from an M2, I'd experienced all those thrills, and I wouldn't have changed that car if it had been written off. But I was in the market for a new one, and I knew what budget I wanted, and that was a car, that was an option, that was definitely on the list. But for me, you know, you look at one, they're still very, very expensive. You know, if you're looking at a 67 or an 18 plate car, you know, it's 3 years old now, it's getting on, they're still mid-40s. You know, that's a lot of money for a car, and you could get something a lot newer for similar kind of price. So that was one thing that deterred me, and just the overall feel and drive, it wasn't really me. Great car, you can have a lot of fun in it, but it just wasn't really me. Then that left me with the A45S. Again, very similar. I've just spat on my own penis. Very similar to the RS3, really. You know, four-wheel drive, 400 plus brake horsepower, blisteringly quick, and I know it's got that funky mode to do all the, you know, the drift settings and things like that. But you can't do that. This is the point. It was the same kind of feel. So the A45S, a lot of money, 50 grand, right at the top of my budget. I drove that, and it did feel very similar to the RS3. In all fairness, I think the RS3 felt a bit better. And I just thought 50 grand, and again, it's just, again, this is all opinion, so I don't want any people in the comments going, oh, this and that. It's just all down to what I want from a car. You know, I want something that's going to be fun, reliable, I can use on the track, and I can go a little bit sideways in, to be honest. And again, the A45S, for the kind of budget, it just didn't tick it for me either. It was a lot of money, and it was a lot of car, and it was, again, very, very quick, but it just lacked that feel. And it looks very similar to the A35, which is a very good looking car as well, but it's hard to distinguish all the two. And these are all things that you take into consideration when buying a car. So that left me with the Porsche. Now, for those of you who know me, my absolute dream car is a GT4, and I will have one day. I will have one day. I'll make sure of it. GT4, they're still 70 grand, so that is out of my price budget at the minute. So I thought, what's the next best thing? A Cayman. Now, with Porsche, as you know, there's loads of different variants that you can have, but I wanted something that's still going to deliver the same sort of power, around 400 brake horsepower, so that kind of leaves you with the 4-litre 718 Cayman, which is still relatively new, and they are very, very expensive. Now, don't get me wrong, any Porsche, any Cayman is phenomenal how they drive. They are just brilliant, okay? And they're very, very similar. I think that's the next kind of notch from an M2 Competition. That was my kind of thought process. And if you want the right one, you know, if you're not too bothered about 400 brake horsepower, you want slightly less, then yeah, you can find something, but you'd have to compromise on age and other spec, etc. But if you wanted something similar price, similar power, similar age, you're still looking at a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, and that kind of wrote it off for me immediately. You know, I didn't drive the Porsche because I didn't have to, because I kind of analysed it all, and I knew the Porsche would be a brilliant car. I've been out in them before, and anyone who's got a Cayman or a GT4, you know, talks to them very, very highly. And any car review that you see, Chris Harris preaches that they're the best thing since sliced bread, and 100% I'd agree with that. But the price, I'm not going to entertain something that is out of my budget to just make me want something even more and then commit or push myself financially when it's not the sensible thing to do. That wrote the Porsche off. So that then left me with an M2 Competition. You see that a lot. And for those who've got OG M2s and you're looking to make the upgrade, hopefully this helps as well. Or for those who are completely new to the market and you're coming from something with a little bit less power, but you're looking to go up a notch, you know, what do you get? What's better value for money? And it's really, really hard. The M2 is a great car, and engine, N55, brilliant. The sound that makes was just brilliant. It was a raw car. I loved it. But I wanted something different, and I wanted a little bit more power. You know, I was in, I say a good position because my car had equity and I could start afresh again. And I just wanted something different. You know what we're like. You know what us car people are like. You want something different if you can get an opportunity to, as long as it's not going to push you too much. So I was like, yeah, I can get one again, but am I just going to have the same car when I can get something a little bit better, a little bit more capable? So that then left the M2 Competition, and these are the cars that these two cars were so difficult to decide between, because you can have a nice M2, an OG M2, facelifted LCI, 18 plate, for, when I was looking, it's when prices were ridiculous, for anywhere sort of from 35, 37 grand for a nice one. Whereas an M2 Comp, you know, newer car, granted, a year and a half, 2 years newer, was anywhere sort of between 43, 45 grand, which is a big difference. And if I was buying cash, I think it would be probably a bit of a no-brainer, because the M2 is a brilliant package. And when you're talking the difference of basically, you know, almost 10 grand, I don't know if the M2 Comp is worth that in terms of cash value. I really don't, because you could get a normal M2, you could do a lot to it. But from a PCP perspective, which is how I buy my cars, it made absolute sense, because it was more or less the same price. But I was getting a car that was newer, that looked a little bit better outside, apart from the disgusting cow udder, a little bit faster, and just a little bit more capable. And that's why I decided against the M2, to be fair, because of that reason. I wanted a bit more power, I wanted something different, and this worked out more or less the same as what an M2 would, price-wise. And I ended up going with this, and I've not looked back. And to be honest, driving both back to back, bear in mind mine was on coilovers, I have driven normal M2s before, this is a little bit more capable. And when I say more capable, a lot of people may disagree. The M2 was very raw, a very good car though, very good car. This is raw still, but on normal roads, it's a little bit more forgiving. It deals with it a lot better. It really does make a difference, and that's it. And that's why I've decided on this, and I've not looked back, to be fair. So if you are in the market for one of those cars, it always personal preference, guys. If you're looking for something just to quickly run to the shop in A to B and have an absolute blitz, then RS3s, A45S, they're absolutely brilliant. If you've got a bit more cash to spend, look at a Porsche. But this is my kind of verdict, it's the position that I was in, and this is why I've decided to go for this car, and I'm really, really happy with it. That's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.